So I'm with Joe Richardson, who's Head of Health and PE at St Edmunds College in Canberra. And I'm taking this opportunity as building on what I've noticed about you, Joe, is that you're incredibly good at building relationships with the students in your school. And I really noticed that when I've been out working with you. And as a result of that, I thought this would be a really good podcast for the Health Promoting Schools Committee. So welcome. And how's your day been so far?
Yeah, it's been good. Thanks for having me. Big busy time of the year. We've got our swimming carnival tomorrow and our athletics carnival next Friday.
Yeah,
look after basketball at the college as well. So it's a busy time.
Yeah, it is, and I'm not exaggerating. We spoke a little bit off air about your skill or aptitude, if you like, for building those relationships. So I like to talk about that, and I think I'll put some context into this. And the context is that I noticed one of the last times I was out at the school, walking from the main building out to the demountable where some of your classrooms are. And I noticed the number of times you spoke to kids as we were just walking casually across the playground. And it really kind of struck me how much you do off that, how natural it was. And I wanted to talk to you a bit about what's your thinking behind that. Why do you do it? Is it a natural thing for you? What are the benefits, those kind of things?
Yeah, I guess paint the picture a little bit is I started at St Eddy's 16 years ago. And I guess where I am now is in a completely different space to where I was when I started. I'm obviously super comfortable in my environment there around the families and the boys at that college. Every time you've sort of come in, or anyone that I've worked with the University of Canberra, I always stress the importance that our school is completely relationship based. Relationships are everything to our boys. So it probably took me a little while to understand that problem that was told to me when I first started. But our boys are very much based on how we build a relationship with them, not necessarily just in the classroom, but what that relationship looks like from when they first get to school, when they first leave. I guess when I first started, I was in a pastoral role, and I probably took the approach of that heart, mind, discipline approach, and I don't think it was getting me anywhere. I was nowhere near as effective as I was now. So when you ask, is it a natural thing? I think it has become natural, but I don't think it necessarily was at the start. I think that when you see me walk through a court and I stop and talk to 10 boys in 100 metres, the way I look at that is no matter how small that conversation to me is, or no matter how quick that conversation is, for that 5-10 seconds, it could be 2 minutes, whatever it may be, that might be the most significant conversation in that boy's day. They might have come to school with no breakfast. They might not have had a good sleep. Whatever their home life or family life is, to me, that when I'm present at school, it's an opportunity for boys to feel safe, to be respected, to know that someone's there to listen, to care. And that conversation can be about anything. It could be about how they went on the weekend. It could be how they trained for the basket that morning, or whatever it is. It's that little 5-10 second snippet of that boy's day that they can turn around and go, okay, well, I've got someone at school that has my back. If something goes wrong, or you think I need to go talk to someone, okay, well, there's someone there that's going to listen. So I think I've developed that over time rather than sort of become natural.
Yeah, it's interesting that there's so much you just covered in that short part. I should have said this at the beginning, what age are the kids at the school, at the college?
Yeah, so we range from year 4 to year 12.
Right, okay, that's good, just for a bit of context. What I was interested to start with, one of the things you said was the fact that kind of disciplinary narrative or power that you might have, it's actually not any good in many ways. Obviously, we've got it as a last resort, but it's something that I talk to my students about, that, you know, this idea of being quite disciplined and quite hard. At the end of the day, you've got to repair those relationships, and there's a lot to be said for almost using that as a last resort. And it's interesting to hear that you've got the same kind of idea about that. I guess what I'd like to ask you more about is just to go a bit deeper about why it's important for the whole school. It's not just a health and PE thing, which is what your subject area is, but that whole kind of healthy school type attitude. It sounds like you've got a culture there where that is obviously important, because you were told to try and embrace that. Can you tell me about the significance of building relationships for those boys as far as the whole school's concerned?
Yeah, it definitely is a whole school approach, and we're super lucky to have some of the most amazing staff that I worked with, from heads of faculty to our amazing heads of house who go above and beyond every single day, to the sixth line teacher that is in the trenches, period 6 on a Friday afternoon. I think from our leadership team, this will always stick with me. I look at it and I think about, like, that every decision that we as a school should make, or every decision that you should make as a teacher, I think it has to come back to how is this going to benefit the students, secondly the staff, and then also the wider community. So obviously our core business, our main business is to benefit the students. So whatever decision we're making, or however you're going to build a relationship with a student, how is that going to impact that kid and how they feel about coming to school? So I think that's it. That's a sort of a whole school approach that I think is really important that we sort of follow when it comes to that building responsibilities and also building relationships from a sort of a whole school perspective.
Yeah, I like the way you summed it up, using the kid, the school, and also the community. So it kind of leads me on to my final kind of question about this, and that would be, what would be your top tips in relation to, or in addition to what you just said there, for any teachers or anybody else listening to this, about relationship building in a school context? And, you know, really what are your top tips and the real benefits of doing that, just to finish off?
Yeah, I've got a few, I guess, that I think make building that relationship a little bit easier. I just touched on it just previous, like, what are you trying to get out of the relationship? So what decision do you make, or what's the decision you're making? How is that going to benefit the kid? I think that's first and foremost. Secondly, I think I find the connection, and that doesn't. I don't care how small that connection is, or I don't care how insignificant that connection is. I think it's super important that whether it's a 5-10 second conversation, that you find that connection, whether it be sport, what they did on the weekend with family, where they go away. Ask them a simple question. Kids are so used to these days being told that they've done something wrong, they haven't brought their homework in, they're late, they've got their shirt untucked. Well, let's flip it a little bit and ask them, what did you do on the weekend? How did you go at sport? I think that's a really simple tip to connect with the boys. But I also think by saying that, challenging the boys as well, or challenging students. I always talk from an all boys perspective because I've been here for so long, but I think it's still important that we challenge the students to get the best out of themselves. So not every conversation is going to be easy. We're still there to keep students accountable. But if you do it in the right way, if you do it in a way that goes back to that first part about how is it going to benefit the boys, or how is it going to benefit the students, it's going to make them understand that, okay, well, these guys are here for me. I might not like the outcome, I might not necessarily want that outcome to be what it is, but it's going to set me up long term in the long run. So I think there are probably a couple of things that I would say. And also, John, you know how busy we are at schools these days, and I just thought about this before before we came on here about running a swimming carnival tomorrow and running basketball trials, and I'll work with a boy. I bought it off sort of at school, and I was flat out, and he sort of stopped past to see me, and I purposely just put everything down, stopped what I was doing, and was just present. I think there's so many times where we're not present at school or in our lives that we let all the distractions take over, and we're not giving our all to that person. So I think there are just a couple of things that I sort of push myself on and sort of work towards to make sure that those relationships are continually being built.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I could talk about this forever because I've done a few interviews with different people for different things in the past 12 months, and the common thing that people talk about isn't content knowledge as a health and PE teacher or pedagogy. First and foremost, the most experienced people that I talk to, they talk about the importance of being relatable. And I like that idea of being in the present. And at the end of the day, it's probably why most of us are teachers or have been teachers, because it's that idea of the relationships we build with the kids. The content of pedagogy is almost second to that in a kind of a way, although that's obviously important if we're talking about quality delivery of curriculum and all that. But you've got to have those kind of connections. And I think that what you spoke about as well there about the pressures of the job, that you can be consumed by that. But the other thing about this is if you put the effort into those relationships, I think kids and students generally, even the students that we teach in tertiary education, those students are more understanding, more accepting, and you can be yourself more. You don't have to put off on as much of a show, because you'll know that those students will be understanding of when things are hard for you as well. You've got a reciprocality that you have from those relationships as well.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's a huge thing, that kids need to see you as a human, not a robot or not a person just up there delivering content. We're still human at the end of the day, and kids need to see that, and I guess be a part of your life as much as you being a part of their lives.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I think we often are thinking the same kind of things. We don't even have the time to have those kind of conversations we're having at the moment. And I really think that this will be useful for people, just even to bring them back into the moment and to remind them of what is most important. So I really appreciate having a chat. I've been looking forward to it for some time. We spoke about this probably about 6 months ago, or even probably longer than that.
Probably longer,
yeah. And I'm just really pleased that talking about giving up time, you've given up this time, and you've got a swimming carnival tomorrow. I mean, I can only imagine what time you'll be going home tonight after doing all that. So, listen, thank you so much.
No, thanks for having me, Josh. It's been a pleasure.